there. Another one that's love it, right? Leave meeting. Yeah, I'm all in. I'm leaving the meeting. I started the live broadcast. Talked about that with Corey this morning. If you guys are joining us now, there we go. The little box is lit up. It said hello that we're live on YouTube. Hey, how's it going? One, Zoom, get this shit organized, okay? When I host a meeting and then I record it or send it live, you don't need to ask me if I know or if I want to stay in the meeting. I started that shit. I'm good with it. One of these days, just because a little box comes and says, do you know that this is being broadcast live? And I started the meeting and started the broadcasting. I'm going to click leave meeting just to mess with these two dudes right here. Anyway, MCC Virtual Business Box launch November 5th, 2021. Woo! I am Mitch Camage, normally the Savage of Business. Today, your broker of certainty. Maddie, where's your shirt at, brother? As always, I am joined. Woo! We're all rocking it today. I am joined, as always, with my brothers from other mothers, Mr. Paul Falkowski, the Monarch. Oh. And Mr. Matt Hewson. Zeus is in the house. And the big guy on my screen, which is right there, Justin, decided just as we're going live, he's like, I'll be right back. And then buggered off to do I don't know what. So this is our live audience. We're going to talk about the week that was in business. And as always, I'm going to throw some stuff at everybody else. So then they can talk about things on the fly, off the cuff. And you can hear some smart stuff. You can hear some innovative stuff. You can hear some amusing stuff, of course. There he is, Timpro styling in his fancy ass shirt. But with that, I'm Mitch Camage, your broker of certainty today. This is the MCC Virtual Business Box Lunch. And while I do the button clicking and the hen pecking and the other crap on the back end of YouTube, I'm going to let these fine gentlemen introduce themselves anyway. And with that, Paul, take it.
Yeah, my name is Paul Falkowski. One of the brokers of certainty here. Business coach with Mitch and Matt. And we help solve problems. We help solve business problems. We help you with your processes. We help you with your sales and help you with the money and try to keep you thinking ahead with your business of what's going to happen in the next 90 days, what's going to happen over the next year. So we're your voice of reason and your accountability partners.
Yeah, I'll go next. So Matt Hewson, one of the team members here with Mitch at MCC. Basically what we do is solve what's behind me right now. We're able to work with small, medium, large scale businesses to say, hey, you may not see it because you're in the arena. We're able to get out of it and get above it and give you the answers that you need and really do want in order to make sure that you can rest your head peacefully at night.
Justin
Thibault. I am a partner with Global Debt Technologies. We do everything debt. So to help you rest your head easily at night, I can deal with the debt side of things. We've got some really kick-ass things happening, some kick-ass platforms live, and are currently working on some really large things that we'll hopefully get to talk about.
Fantastic. Now I'm still doing a little bit of button pushing. So today, and for today only, or because, sometimes I come with a handful of topics that I want to sift through. I don't think they'd be nearly as interesting. And sometimes it's really good to have variety. Today, I'm going to let the panel pick. Each of you is going to pick a week that was topic, something that was front of mind, something that you saw in the news, regional, local, national. We're going to take it apart. We're going to put it back together. You guys are going to set the agenda for what we're discussing today, because I'm feeling generous. Am I not a generous God? I am a generous God. So the panel itself is going to decide on our topics today. We have 40 minutes to motor through because, of course, our sister channel, Syndicate, A Syndicate Talks, is going to be going live right after. And we need just a little bit of time to segue and go over to that side as well. Hint, Paul's going to be talking. So anyway, if that's an inducement, great. If it's not, come for the fun. But right now, we're going to turn it over to the panel today. I'm going to finish doing a little more button pushing. But guys, let's find our first topic. And Zeus, Matt, I'm going to put you up first. I want you to tell us what you've been experiencing and seeing this week, and what's the one thing that we've got to all push together in on to fix today.
I'll say this. Much of my conversations with clients this week have really kind of been focused on less business, more, hey, what's the the vehicle and vessel that you have, that you're in right now, which means, mindset, body, and fatigue. They've chatted about how much more they feel that they have been doing. And I think exhaustion is something that has been a common denominator, let's say, for many of these small business owners, because they just don't have the mental capacity or the emotional capacity, and they're tired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, live studio audience. Hey, we got more people coming and joining the party. So Matt, we'll give it a second. I'll reset it one more. So this time, let's state it as a question. Hey, I heard this. What do we got to do about it? Let's take it like that. And like I said, just give it a second for likely Danny and Scott to come and join us. Live studio audience, but also participants, because that's the way we roll here.
Well, so my question is, even with the new joiners here, is that how are we working with our business owners, with our clients, and with our peer group in order to ensure that mental, emotional, and spiritual fatigue does not carry into 2022? We're coming up to a busy season for many, and we want to make sure that they can maximize, cash flow, profit, revenue, all of these things, because we have less than 60 days now until the new year.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, Matt's coming out strong. Hell of a question. Scott just left the room. He's like, I'm out of here. I got nothing. I am done. I am out. I'll come back in 20 minutes when they're on a different topic. I'm out of here entirely. Now
No.
That's weighty and heavy in and of itself. So do some mental push-ups. Panel. What do we got? What do we got when we're hearing from our brothers and sisters, our wives, our husbands, our boyfriends, our girlfriends, our parents, children? What are we hearing from our business partners, etc.? What are we looking at when this happens, and what are we doing to mitigate it? What are we doing to be able to help? Because it is a universal constant for all of us right now. There's so much volatility, and I'd have to suggest first that because of COVID, wherever you are in the world or whatever you're doing from a business perspective, that there is so much bleed or blend between business and home. Again, I think almost everybody on this call is from their home-based office right now. Some of us are blessed to not have kids at home because they're at school today, if they weren't ill or whatever it is. But otherwise, that's our only opportunity to really focus on business. And so because of that, there's no off. There was no off switch in my household last night. In fact, we all know that it's a Friday of a long week coming up here this morning. We're all looking forward to the weekend, even though my wife loves what she does. I love what I do. Both my girls, my little girls, which are at home, love going to school, but everybody's tired and we're cranky as hell and we're taking it out on each other. So because of that, there's no off switch. I can hear them sometimes behind the green screen come up and whisper, and you really don't notice, but right where my finger is right there's actually a little crack between the wall and the green screen, and they'll come put their faces right there and go, Dad, can I have chips? What? Can I have chips? Well, shit. So there's no pause sometimes. I'm literally here doing this, and I'm here, Dad, can I have chips? I'm working, get lost. Is that a yes? Yes, it's a yes. So with no off at all, you have to be able to find that to be able to take care of each other. So knowing when to turn this off and go away has to happen on a daily basis. And it might need to change the way you assess it, but has to happen on a daily basis, or I'm going to hear a lot more of that. And that means that is not a good sign, right? So every day I've got to find a way to be able to take all of this and put it down, or I'm hosed. Thoughts?
Shout out to your girls for hitting you up at the exact right time to get a yes from you.
So
They're learning.
last night at about 9 o'clock, I realized that it was our anniversary.
Yeah. real life problems.
Yeah.
We've been working a lot, and both. Well, he remembered. He remembered first,
Yeah.
and we kind of sat there and went, oh.
That's why you told us to go out. Yeah.
anniversary.
And they're like, yeah, Mitch told us to go out for a date. Like, why?
That was Paul, actually, but you know what?
Oh,
I'll take
Paul.
credit.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Thanks, Paul. We're like, oh.
Do you know why Paul told you to do that? This guy right here.
Either which way, we're like,
Mhm.
oh yeah, okay, so we're going out for dinner tomorrow. Yeah.
Awesome.
But like a really easy way to, mitigate some burnout and stuff like that is honestly, it comes down to communicating with your spouse. He lets me sleep in for an extra hour in the morning. He's been letting me sleep in and taking the kids to school. And, for some people, maybe that's not a big deal, but for me, that's huge. It's an extra hour of sleep and, to the point where I'll hear him go outside the door and be like, shut up, your mother is sleeping.
Not anymore.
So I'm sensing a yelling theme. I
Mhm.
understand. Yeah.
Oh no, it's awesome. It's awesome because I find it very sexy when he yells at the children. So it's,
Uses his thundering dad voice. I understand.
yes,
Right.
it's definitely doing it. But an hour of sleep goes a long way. Because sometimes I'll work like a 15 or 16-hour day, and it's all mental, right? Sitting in front of a computer, and you don't realize how much an extra hour of sleep helps. So it doesn't have to be big, grandiose gestures. Sometimes it's just something little like that.
And I used to get to go take the kids to school, and by the time I get back, I'm awake and ready to do things. So,
And then he's got to get me away.
but I bring her coffee, and I usually convince her to like get out of bed. Like,
Just like covers it under my nose. Yeah.
It's no insults to wake you up. It's the
yeah,
smelling
Yeah.
coffee.
it's coffee. Or, yeah.
He knows where my button is. It's just wave the coffee around me, and I'm like, hi.
It's like a bad Folgers commercial in our
Yeah.
house. It's
Yeah.
like waft the fresh Colombian ground air.
Every day.
I know for me, I haven't been to the gym in almost 2 weeks, and I've been a little more on edge than I normally am. Whereas certain things I might be able to overlook, I haven't been able to, and it's kind of crept up, and you reach your breaking point, and then it's, where do you take it out on? Do you take it out at home, take it out at work, take it out on the fool that's trying to cut you off on the hen day when there's a massive accident driving into the office and he's ripping ahead of you and then slamming on his brakes? I know that was an ultra specific example.
I was gonna say, did you just see our drive back from McDonald's before we got on here? We seen that exact same thing happen.
Mhm.
So I think to Matt's question is, on that note, is a lot of it is get back to the things that make you happy and that can distract you from all of the other stuff, whether that's spending time with your kids, your spouse, going to the gym, going for a walk, playing with your dog. But again, I think we've had a kind of a common theme in a lot of these is we have to be very intentional on what we're going to do. Mitch, I think last week you said take a 5-minute nap in our coaching call or on one of the calls. And, it's one of those things where if you're not intentional to remove yourself from that situation, you can become a grumpy bitch.
Yep.
We flagged this, right? So I can say that.
Yeah. I checked a little box.
Right, and you can become grumpy, and then because you're now not in the right mindset, you're putting more focus and harder stuff, and for me anyways, I'm putting more stuff on my plate that I don't need to put on my plate because I'm grumpy, and rather than physically removing myself away from it or going and doing something that I enjoy, I'm putting more work on my shoulders, which then it makes you shorter at home. It makes you shorter behind the wheel. Do I want to hold the door open for that lady carrying 3 bags of groceries out of the door? Yeah, I will, but I'm gonna do it begrudgingly because I'm grumpy.
Well, and if I may interject just to kind of reframe some of the question, is that like, how are we then taking that to our peers, to our employees? Like, what's the culture fit that we need to kind of present, whether or not it's virtual or not, right? Because like for myself, I have a team, but I haven't seen that team in person in like months, right? So how are we taking our internal fatigue and projecting or not projecting that onto our staff, onto our people? And what's our conversation to those individuals as well to say, hey, like, do you know when you feel like this, and how are you presenting yourself and our brand to our client base? Like that's part of the question set too.
Brett,
It's taken a lot of Lorette, sorry. Go ahead, please.
That's okay. Thank goodness Matt reframed, because now I have something to talk about. I was like, I don't know what we're talking about, but now I do.
Keep people off in traffic.
Well, like, my first year in business was push, 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 push. My second year in business is flow, flow, flow. Like, Mitch is a genius, which the laser beam. And like Gary Vee talks about from the bottom up, right? So if we're shitty people, our company is shit. Just that's a fact. But if like you're an awesome person and you pour that down to other people, you like become a better person. So my theme, I think, is a little ADD goes a long way. The definition of abundance is not one thing, it's several things. So this year I was like, I'm going to play violin. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. But I was really intentional about like, what are my top 4 values? Am I playing in them? Everything that I'm doing with everything. It's exactly what Justin and Matt and whoever said it was like, be intentional about what you're doing. So that's what I'm going to say to that. Now you can go, Paul.
Thank you. I will proceed. For me, it's planning. Like if I got to put my spots in my schedule, or I'm not going to take them. I'm going to fill it with work. I'm going to fill it with something else. I literally have to pre-plan that, or I'm not going to do it. I will work. And then that turns me into a Justin after that. So that is not good. So, I've been taking Mitch's advice, putting my spots in my calendar and just stepping away, going for a nap. I mean, even if I'm not sleeping, at least I've gone away from all technology, the phone, the TV, everything. So it's either a nap or a walk around the block, whatever. And then picking spots for date nights, with my significant other here. Otherwise, sometimes our relationships can get pushed to the side. And we start, not acknowledging and not being present. And then that's when the separation starts. So, it's focusing on what I need in order to recharge, but also what Tara needs to recharge, what the kids need. And they need me. They need not just part of me. Yeah. Okay, whatever. They need all of me in that situation. And it doesn't matter if I'm thinking I'm wasting my time watching some show on TV. No, I'm fully engaged and I'm here. I might not like the show, but look at where I am, and this is where I want to be. So I've been really focusing in on that and planning that stuff out a little bit more, just so that I can be intentional.
So to Matt's commentary, and to come in again about focusing and awning, but it's the same conversation. Some reminders. Thank you, JT, for that, and Paul for the commentary, and Lorette, etc. When we communicate with people, we need to communicate where both of our bad and our good intentions are, or where both our bad and our good states are for the day, right? It's permissible to say in the world that we're in right now, I'm not having the best day right now, but you know what? Saddle up. Let's get after this, right? It is permissible to take 2 minutes to reset yourself. It's permissible to make it, and just a very personalized example. Yesterday was just Thursday, November 4th. For some people, Thursday, November 4th, 2021 was a great day. For some people, it's their birthday. For some people, it's their last day. For a lot of people, it was Thursday, November 4th. But Thursday, November 4th was a 5-hour straight block of clients with a lunch break. That lunch break included me doing what? Wrapping birthday presents for my wife, whose birthday is an entire year out. Because every year we have this really cool decorative tree that's actually part of our lighting system in the living room. So what do we dub it? We dub it the birthday tree before the Christmas tree goes up, because my wife's birthday is at the beginning of December. So I wrap her birthday presents, and the birthday presents went under the birthday tree. So yesterday at lunch, I ordered lunch, had it delivered to the house, wrapped the birthday presents, put it under the birthday tree, then came back to serve with a client. Hint, they're on this call, right? And then left that meeting to have a short little gap where what did I do? I went and got everything ready for the kiddos before they got home from school and got off the bus. Then I went into my last regular client meeting of the day, got off of that and went upstairs. And what did I do? Fixed her stove. So just finding ways to put these different, I had a full service daddy and husband day yesterday. I fixed a stove. I wrapped some presents. I got some snacks ready for the kiddos. I cooked dinner. I was going yard, right? And I still had a meeting at 5 o'clock. But now that's, well, Mitch, no, we're all capable of it. We're all capable of just saying, look, this is a good day or a bad day. We're all capable of communicating with somebody and asking them if they're having a bad day as well. The smallest bit of attention right now in a world where we are more connected but more divided is desperately important for us to do. And taking those opportunities, because the world blends so much now, is a must. So to care for other people, to give them grace and opportunity, we'll do this in certain ways. When was the last time you asked somebody when they actually have to work? Amongst our team, MCC, what's the client care? Those are the meetings that are musts. What's the work that must be done this week? And other than that, get the fuck out. Go spend time with your kids. Go spend time with yourself. Go have a 5-minute nap in the middle of the day. Go to dinner, go to lunch, make sure that those opportunities are there, because you must reset that. If you don't, well, your employees are going to recognize it. To Laurette's commentary, if you're dog shit, your organization's dog shit, they're going to recognize it right away. They're going to recognize that the game is afoot, as opposed to the game is well played. Matt?
Yeah, thanks, Mitch. I would say this, much of my conversation, real world, even late last night, is when someone's health fails, who's going to pick it up, right? So we've all seen those sayings, those memes, the whatever about work versus life versus whatever. But hey, we all got to get to work. And that's something that we at MCC really do focus on, right? Like, I think I've said before, there's lots of life coaches out there. There's mindset guys and girls. There's all these things. But I can try and kumbaya all I want. But if I'm thinking about work when I should be thinking about my breath, let's get the work right. Right. So for me, it's always been a focus to say, hey, let's really clear your plate. Let's see what we can do. But finding great coaches, great mentorship, a great HR team, whether or not that's in-house or fractional, right, or just a subcontract, has been something that I am speaking so often about, because they can become your culture engine. And, we, through these lunches, have chatted so much about what's your culture moving forward, what's your messaging about that culture moving forward, how is that all coming together, right? So when we're at this 11th hour of 2021, we really do need to kind of focus to say, hey, am I communicating what we are to the masses, to our clients? But then more importantly, are we actually able to do what we're trying to say, right? So those two items to me have been the biggest talking points. And again, finding a great HR team, internally, externally, and then finding some great coaches to say, hey, it's time for you to step away. You're being a little bit of a douchebag, right? Take 10 minutes and reframe and go from there. And that's like that's the biggest accountability for me, is that when you guys see it, you're like, Matt, like, what the hell? Like, go off camera for a couple minutes, right? So that's super important for work and peers right now.
So if I can summarize, and then Paul, I'm going to put you on the spot for finding our next topic to talk about. Letting your family, your spouse or partner, your children, your parents, your brothers and sisters, Paul just went off camera. Love it. Absolutely love it, right? Finding all those different opportunities to let somebody know that, one, it's okay to have a bad day. Two, it's okay to have a great day. Three, it's okay to express you're having a great day while I'm having a bad day. There's no harm in that. To look at the way we care for each other is a little better. And to Matt's point and to Laurette's point about culture and business as well, to make sure that we are coachable and approachable. I had a great meeting with a longtime friend of mine this morning. If I say his name on here, everybody's going to know exactly who it is. He's well known. He's a well-known author. He's got a number of wonderful businesses. This morning, he agreed to coaching. He agrees to coaching in lots of other places, but he agreed to coaching right now because he has a really specific need. And that need can be fulfilled by this guy, by these guys right here, right? He agreed. Absolutely. I'd love to go down this. That is a hallmark that you need to embrace for yourself as well in the pandemic and the dynamic that we're in. Because even a person that doesn't need it necessarily, it's very likely going to do everything just right, is willing to look for not the shortcuts, but the smart way to do it. Why figure it out the first time and not be sure when you can figure it out right the first time and have it done? So it's really important for us to embrace that. I think that's part of the change, the catalyst that we're seeing now, is that for us to make that change with our employees, with our vendors, and with our partners, with our spouses, we have to have those conversations. When was the last time you had a good cry with your spouse? And not because they did something to you, right? When was the last time you had a good cry with your spouse or with your partner, or whatever it is, just because of the nature of the conversation? Did last week. So find the way to be able to do that. Now with that mental 3, 2, 1, let's do some push-ups, shake it out, loosen it up. Paul, what are you noting over the last week that we need to talk about here today and get all of these brains? Because the 7 of us on this call, I feel like the Brady Bunch for crying out loud. The 7 of us on this call are capable of solving any problem. Let's put that to the test, right? We are clearly capable of solving any problem. We're all experts in our own industry. So Paul, what have you been noting over the last week? What are you watching in our marketplace? What are you hearing from clients and customers, et cetera? Much like getting it started with Matt. And what are we going to pull apart, put back together?
Well, there's 3 areas: politics, religion, and COVID. I think we should dive into all 3 of those and really get that on the table and see where everybody is divided and fighting amongst each other. That's what I would love to do, is just enable that conversation and sit back and watch the chaos.
You forgot sex. You got to throw that in that conversation there too.
There we go. Right.
Good point.
Woo.
Real world
I think it's end of the year. Everybody's stressed. Everybody's running 1,000 miles an hour. Focus. What can I control? What can I do? And what are the big issues? What are my top 3? What are my top 5? And focusing on those and putting everything else to the side right now. That's what I've been focusing most of my clients on is, again, going back to Matt, breathe. Okay, let's make a list. Let's put everything down. Let's star your top 3, your top 5. What can we do? How can we move this forward? And then how does this relate to your goal? How does this relate to your 90-day stretch? How does this relate to your numbers? So, I'm relating it back to their strategy and just trying to, minimize the stress on that side, keep them focused. So how are you being focused in your business? And what are you seeing with your clients, with your family in that area?
I have been preaching the calm before the storm in the debt space for a while. And I think with the government, I'm going to try and incorporate all of these things that we're not supposed to talk about into my response. I think with the government removing some of the supports for businesses, I know that my phone has been ringing off the hook. I shared with the gentleman on the call before we went live some of the stuff that's there. So looking at that, I'm seeing, the calm before the storm, and now people are panicked. What do we do now? I had a call this morning with an organization, and I said, you need to be proactive, not reactive. And they just kind of glazed over. So I'm seeing that the advice that we've given to people 6 months ago, 9 months ago, 12 months ago, went in one ear and out the other. And the reality is now you're having to be reactive to try and get yourself, out of the spot that you're in. Don't go into ostrich mode. Don't put your head in the sand, ass in the air, and hope that nothing's going to hit you, because when it hits you, we're now dealing with $176,000 lawsuit, something that could have been dealt with a few months ago. We're dealing with shutting down a business because they weren't proactive on a $45,000 receivable. That one receivable has destroyed, absolutely decimated the business. Now, for Mitch, Matt, and Paul, there's obviously other things, to equate to that, but it's huge in that it's affecting the marriage, it's affecting the relationship, it's affecting all of this other elements. And I think when we get into business, we often blend business with work and think that it can be one and the same, but it really is a split personality. You have to have your business brain, you have to have your home brain, because what happens in your business bleeds into your house, whether you want it to or not. You know, if you're having a great month, it's going to bleed into your house. If you're having a really bad month, it's going to bleed into your house. So I've been saying the calm before the storm, and looking at my board, I haven't seen this many names on my board in, well, since April of 2020 was the last time I saw the number of names that are on the board right now. So I touched on government. Let's go into religion now. So no, I'll shut up.
And with that, Matt, Scott, Danny, go ahead.
As I said, I think it has to do with creating time and space. You know, you get into a predicament and you have all these different factors and clients and stuff, you know, creating the pressure on you. Can you come up with a, you know, quantitative plan to create time and space for yourself to be able to actually follow through with what you need to do, and the space to, you know, not have the pressure on you that you maybe have put upon yourself, you know. And going back to the calendar, yeah, that's why it is so important, because then you can quantify those time blocks and just say, this is what has to happen now. You know, if you have, you know, a mess of stuff on the whiteboard, and we're guilty of this, and you're like, well, I'm just going to pick these things off. Well, that pile is never going to end, because you just keep adding to it and adding to it, and there's no quantitative time assigned to it. So being able to create that time and space where, you know, we're saying that we forgot it was our anniversary yesterday, and, you know, it's funny, but we're making time Saturday to go out for dinner, and that goes into our calendar, and there's no pressure anymore about forgetting it, or there's no pressure about how you're going to fit it into your day. It's just going to happen. You know, I'll call my mom, she'll take the kids, we'll go out for dinner, and the evening's been planned, and you've created that time and space for yourself. And that's not even like business, that's just life, right? So it's kind of how I've been looking at things over the last while is, you know, if this is something you need to address, you know, how do you create either the time or the space you need to execute it?
Well, the other thing too, the calendar is, say for me, I'm working 15 or 16-hour days, right? I mean, it's the end of the year, we do accounting, everybody's crazy. I echo Justin's, you know, sentiment here, where people just are not prepared for where things are sitting at today, right? As of 4 days ago, that was the end. That's the end of CERS. That's the end of SUS. That's the end of current, you know, supplements that have been there to help businesses get themselves from 1 month to the next. And I mean, our business is no different. We've relied on those subsidies as well. And you know, like it's for me, looking at a pile of things that need to get done before the end of the year, because we're on our downslide to tax season. With that calendar, for me, it's the peace of mind of being able to look back and know that I've put everything in that I've gotten done into my calendar. It gives me a really great sense of accomplishment, which does kill some of the storm in my head. You know, while that whiteboard just keeps piling up and piling up, at least I can go, but look at all the stuff I've gotten done.
And there's like the support around you too, because like yesterday in our meeting, you know, Mitch was like 1-2 clients a week, get them in there. And that's just, it's something that happens kind of naturally for us. Well, we're focused on all this other stuff that has to happen, but it's simplifying it, or having someone tell you, just simplify this and make that your goal for the next few weeks, and you can build upon that, those successes. And you know, for us, part of the time you'll sit there and go, well, that's something that we just do. But then on the other hand, sometimes you need to slow it down and create time and space, right? So that, yeah, it's kind of our thought process lately. So
I was going to say too, the last thought I have too is that coming into the end of the year, part of my focus has been cash flow. I spent my entire day yesterday sending out payment updates to all of our monthly recurring clients, where I'm splitting up their money over the next couple of months to make it a little bit more bearable for people. Yes, we have our own cash flow needs, but at the same time, if all of my clients go into the critical red and I've got a massive pile of receivables, I'm not helping myself. So sometimes it's about taking a different perspective when it comes to, you know, say you have $100,000 worth of receivables and you're sitting there sweating it because you have to make $35,000 or $40,000 worth of bills this month. But if you can get half out of every single one of your existing clients, what you normally would have, that's half of what you need. That's half to get started. And then you only have to hustle half as hard to either get new clients or come up with creative financing, where if you're pressing and pressing and pressing those people for 100%, chances are you're not going to get it. So it's interesting to take those bite-sized pieces and go, how do I get half the stress of my biggest problem off my plate, and then you're reaching out to other lifelines to help you out so that you could get the rest of the way. But now my clients have a little bit of a reprieve. We've got half our cash flow handled, and everybody's a little bit happier going into not only the end of the year, but Christmas and all the other stuff that comes up that nobody wants to think about. But the reason why they ain't paying your bill is because they're trying to buy Christmas presents for their kids. And in a perfect world, we should be able to do both, but we don't.
Okay, I want to talk about anxiety. So one of my clients, she matched the job description to a T. If you get an interview, it's automatically known that you can do the job, right? So they're like, yep, everything looks good on paper. How are you in real life? So her only problem was her anxiety, because when she gets anxiety, she can't speak, she can't talk, she goes dumb. So you get dumb in anxiety. So like, in order to do interview prep with her, I was like, listen, you have the golden ticket. I've seen your resume. You have everything that you have to be successful, but you have shitty energy. Like, I was like, I can feel the like toxic whatever is coming out of your body, and you're not getting the job just from me talking to you, because I can tell your energy sucks. You're putting out into the world this like extremely uncomfortable. No one wants to talk to people that are like, I'm nervous. Like, that is not a fun conversation. So like, stop, pause, realize what anxiety means to you. So for some people, it's like physically they can't talk, physically they get dumb, physically it's really uncomfortable to have anxiety, right? So step number one really is like, what is your anxiety? What does it look like physically, mentally, spiritually? And like the whole point is being approachable, right? So really my conversation with her for interview prep was, you have the right answers, understand your values, match, but like have better energy. So like, again, everything is energy, E equals MC squared. I think I've said that like 4 different times in each like lunchbox, but like, I really believe in being approachable. I really believe that people can feel your energy, and like, it's way funner to have a better conversation where you're like, lighthearted than like, I'm really nervous and like, nobody wants that conversation. So like, how are you coming into play? I guess like focus in business. Focus on what you're pouring out there. Are you pushing anxiety, or are you pushing like delightfully optimistic?
Is there a pivot in there anywhere?
Yes, understand everyone has anxiety. So like,
Pivot.
pause, freeze, meditate. So like, it's self-reflection. So like my themes, you asked about themes this year, like top 3 things. So like self-compassion, self-love, and take an effing holiday and like do something fun for yourself. So the pivot, drink, that's my drinking game, is stop everything and assess yourself. The best thing that you can do is self-mastery. And like the big players in the game, the people that are very successful in business, understand self-mastery. That is the secret in business, is understanding self. Does that answer your question to appease the answer, Paul?
Yes,
Darn
absolutely.
right.
I just want to share real quick. Sometimes, and now is the time in my world, where big swings, just swinging the bat, you're going to hit a ball, right? So if you're the person that is always ready, aim, I got to re-aim, and you never fire, guess what? You're never going to close. So yes, I appreciate everything that Laurette just said. And I think that when she uses the word anxiety, yet there was 2 big gentlemen saying I almost ran people off the road, that you may say is frustration, also could be anxiety, because we're probably not on the road as much, right? Like I had to go out for the first time on a Friday morning in my car in like 6 months. Now I go out often, but it was a Friday and I was like, I'm not feeling it. So that I appreciate, Laurette, very much. How does that affect my team? Well, I'm on the phone with my team during that frustration, and they're like, again, why are you being a dickhead? So I'm now reflecting quite a bit about how not only what am I saying versus what people are hearing. And that I think is super important for us right now. From a focus standpoint though, Paul, to answer the question specifically, major in major. So again, swing the bat, but major in the major things that you need in your business right now, which is going to be Again, you're in a holiday season. If you are retail based, just sell clothes, right? Just sell the product and worry about January, worry about the lease, worry about all those other things after you have some money in the bank. And that to me is, I think, the biggest focus for many businesses.
And on that though, too, if you're not in the retail space, you're coming into Christmas. If you are owed money, now is the time that you must start being proactive. Danielle, kudos to you for splitting it up. Great. It helps on two fronts. For those that aren't doing that, that are just sitting and waiting and hoping, I'm telling you that come December 1, your likelihood to collect is going to drop significantly. And what's going to happen? I'm looking at my board. The storm is brewing. It's on its way. So the more that you can be proactive with this and factoring in, yeah, Christmas is coming. Okay, I said it. I didn't want to, but I've said it. I'm accepting. But the reality is, you know, make sure that you're being proactive on the things that matter. If you aren't collecting on your receivables, if you're not making calls, if you're not sending follow-ups, you're doing detriment to yourself. You really truly are, because again, if you're not on top of it, you're going to run into cash flow issues. And the last point that I'm going to make on that is be open to talk. You don't have to go in and be an ass. And you know, they could owe you 10 grand. Well, what does $3,500 do for you cash flow wise between now and the end of November? Right? Make sure that your AR is on the up and up, and that's being one of your top 5 things that you need to focus on moving forward.
Well, I had a million things I could have worked on yesterday, but working on receivables, I mean, it's critical, right? I mean, what did I put aside? A few things, but it's what needs to get done, because that will determine how the next 60 days for our business goes, you know? I was going to say just one last thought too on the topic of Christmas, not that anybody wants to think about it. The next 60 days is a really great time, and this isn't supposed to sound as dirty as it's going to come out. Stuff your funnel full of conversations. You are going to be networking a crap ton, whether you are doing virtual Christmas parties, whether you are doing virtual coffees. Find a way to touch base with as many people as possible and set yourself up for January, February. People go, that's 4 months away. That's miles away. Not really. If you're like me, the last year just went, right? Yes, stuff your funnel. But it's true, right? Whether you're a salesperson or whether you're just, you know, whatever business you're in, whether you've got products or services, it's not even always about sell. And Matt, you're right? It's about trying to take those chances. And if you're swinging, whether the sale comes today or whether the sale comes in 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 months, I mean, what we're focusing on right now internally is conversation, because we're going to stuff full the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months, because we're starting now. We're not expecting everybody to have money today to transact, but we're talking. Like Matt said, take your bat, take the swing, and at the very end of the day, at least you'll be able to close out the year saying you tried. And
Well,
you just need to have those conversations.
touch points are accumulated your first date.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it works. Sometimes, most often, it doesn't.
Some people need to get dated.
Yeah.
They need to get courted. They need to get pet on the head, told they're pretty, bought a, you know, thing of flowers, chocolate, and then you'll get the sale, you know, but you can't get the sale if you don't talk. So network, stuff your funnel.
Yeah, sure. Made like that.
Yes.
All right, I'm loving the topic. I'm loving all the advice that's coming in. I'm going to jump in and hijack it for a moment because we're going to be closing out here right away. And now, give everybody your top 3 or 5 list, whatever it is, that you're going to be finishing out the year with. What are the things that are musts, the only things you're working on, or to Matt's analogy in a moment, big swings. What are the big swings, right? I'll go first. My wife, always, right? I haven't stopped dating her in 12 years, but the commitment between now and Christmas, because it's a big time for family. Her birthday is right there. Christmas is there. Mine is just after Christmas, etc. It's a big time in our household. So I make sure to renew my commitment every year in December when it comes to her. So the next 60 days will be very important for me to make sure that it's a very valuable time, but there's an awful lot of personal attention from me for her so that she feels the love. My kids, they're all navigating, from grown kids to little kids. They're all navigating a situation right now that's not ideal, that's leaving them an awful lot of uncertainty. 2 boys in their 20s. This is a frightening time to be looking for work. This is a frightening time to try and make your way in the world. They need help navigating in a way that we've never seen before. They have to have a dad that's whole and present, that's there. My businesses, I have several business entities as well. I have to focus on individual projects, and that's it. And I have an individual project for every single business entity, and that is the only thing I'm focusing on between now and then. Otherwise, it's lights on, doors open. That's it. Those are the only projects I am working on individually. It's a total of 5 business projects, taking care of my wife and taking care of my kids. 7 things are my only focus and attention from now until what is a natural break at Christmas. Paul, what about you?
Drinking heavily over the next month or so, shutting my phone off so that nobody can get a hold of me, and just disappearing for a while to completely recharge.
You have a call on Tuesday. You can't do that until after that.
Oh, okay. No, I think Mitch, you touched on that. I got to work on me and be aware of, what my thoughts are when I'm getting worn down or I'm getting tired. What am I saying to myself? What am I talking myself out of? Should I be going to the gym? Yes. Do I need that other donut? No. Those sorts of things. And the more my mental health is better, than the more I have to give. So obviously Tara and the kids for sure, absolutely 100% there. And then my business as well on my side, and working with these guys, and then just exploring other opportunities, right? So
Matt, what about you?
I am very focused on talking less, listening more, and that's in all aspects of my life.
What?
It's also
Sorry.
pardon me. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't hear you.
What? And truly about majoring in the major. So the one biggest thing for me though is that, like, we're here, we're in it. I've talked about the arena quite a bit the last couple of weeks since we've come back from Vegas. We are literally in this. Learn to enjoy it, because you're not going to get out of it unless you have people around you. And those people will be your peers, they will be employees, they will be bosses, they will be your loved ones. But again, at the end of the day, when you put the book and you close it and you drop the pen on top, where are you going? And you're always going to be here. So I'm really focused, to enjoy the journey. And I'll just say this. This is my Christmas slipper, everybody.
Ooh.
How cool is that? I'm going to wear those everywhere for you guys if we actually get to see one another. I'm very, very happy. And Paul, it makes me an inch taller. So we'll almost be able to frame the picture for Christmas.
Wow.
That's it.
Still have to stand on a box, but that's okay.
Yes, absolutely.
Lorette, what you got? What do you focus on between now and Christmas?
I have a new mantra. So I receive all the good gifts given to me today. So be open to receive. 2 is exactly what Danielle said. Touch point, touch point, touch point, touch point. Oh, I'm coming to you. I'm going to talk the shit out of you. You know what I mean? And 3 is close the deal. So if I close 2 really high deals, I get to punch someone in the face, and I'm excited about that. So I'm going to close deals because I got, to punch Matt in the face. I'm really excited. That's my 1, 2, 3.
Before I point again, where am I pointing on the screen? I want to see what YouTube does with this here. Hold on 1 second. Where is it? I'm not pointing at anybody. I'm not pointing at anybody. I'm gonna point that way. I'm gonna point that way now. There we go. I'm gonna point that way because I think I'm pointing at Paul on YouTube. Yeah.
You're pointing at me on the screen.
Yeah,
It was where my head
love
is. So Lorette gets to punch me in the face.
Oh,
whatever. Sounds like a
Mr.
great deal.
Unbreakable Bonds, Houston. I'm punching him in the face if I get 2 deals.
All right, Justin, what are you focused on for the next 60 days?
One is family. Come hell or high water, it's got to be family. Number 2 is money. If it's not money, if it's not generating money for the here and the now, I'm not doing it. That's really what it boils down to. I'm stuffing my funnel. I'm going to use the analogy of a turkey though, because I'd rather stuff a turkey than a funnel. And I'm booking as many meetings as I can. This upcoming week, I've shared with some of the folks. I shared it in our group chat. I've got some huge meetings coming up, so I'm just booking as many meetings as I can and focusing on the development of the things that need to happen. But again, everything that I'm doing is rolling back into the overall dollars and cents of the company. I've set a goal for what I'd like to close between now and December 31st. And it's not just the money, it's how many people we can alleviate stress. And I think, Matt, you had said it earlier, putting your sleeping a little better at night. When you got hundreds of thousands of dollars hanging over your head in debt, you don't sleep. So to be able to help businesses and families out of that, yes, I make money, but it's also doing that. And then in turn, that all ties up really nice and pretty with just being able to chill and relax and spend time with the family and not be, locked into this stupid thing.
All right, Scott and Danny.
Well, we went through this, I guess, a little bit yesterday on our coaching call, which is perfect. Because I was listening last week and the conversation came up, what are your 5 kind of big goals for the year? And actually, I like the way, Justin, that you just phrased that, which is if it doesn't make money, it's not something we're focusing on. And I mean, we've got, again, multiple businesses, so lots of things to focus on. But for me, it's I put together a list of 5 things for one of the businesses yesterday. And I guess the biggest thing out of that list, which will be a one big one, is delegate. I have a tendency to try and do everything myself. And I think that delegating so that I can focus on the things that make us money is going to be really big. And, it's the second one is motivating our team, getting people focused on what we need them to do, which comes from the delegation, because if they don't do what I need them to do, I can't do what I need to do. And, we said, coming back to the topic of burnout, it's easy for my people to see me as burnt out or overwhelmed because the list of things I have to get done is huge. What they don't understand is that I freaking love big lists of things to do. I love them. They keep me motivated. They make me, yearn for the coffee smell in the morning so that I can get out of bed. But going in and then the last one is networking and having those conversations, which is what's going to stuff our funnel coming into the new year. It gets one more time to be able to use it.
I don't. For me, mine's going to be just doing what I do well, not trying to put myself outside of the parameters of what I'm capable of or what I should be doing. And the next one is just having faith, having faith in the people around me. And then, like saying with Danielle, I do a lot of stuff myself because I've lost faith sometimes in people. So finding that faith and having it, and then just remembering that life is good. Life's good. We're coming into Christmas and it's holidays time and it's a time to be happy. Life is good.
Mm-hmm.
So just smile.
Paul, Matt, final thoughts before we close out for the day.
There are no more thoughts. It's Friday afternoon. It's time to take a break. Exactly.
So to speak to that, build capacity, right? Like we all talk about working more, and Danielle, you just mentioned, I love big lists. You've built that capacity over time. You didn't at the beginning, or if you thought you did, you probably weren't efficient at it, right? So again, mastery of a task, take it from the conscious to the subconscious so that it's no longer work. Super important. I think for right now, I've said it all day today, find better people around you to do the tasks that you don't love to do. And Loretta, I think you can smirk to that, right? So yeah, just find the people around you because there is a community and they are more than willing to help.
Fantastic. Brothers and sisters, my brothers from other mothers, Friday, November 5th, in the bag, MCC Virtual Business Box Lunch is done for another week. We have dispensed wisdom. We have had laughs. We have used bad words. We even brought up politics, religion, sex, and money. Great. We're all supposed to be here talking about business, but business and life are synonymous. Just like the same way we feel about politics, religion, sex, drugs, and everything else. We have our own opinion about these things. But when you look at advice, opinions, and professional context, we're bringing professional context when it comes to what you're doing. How do I know that? Because two of the best coaches I have ever worked with, there's praise for you guys, I'm working with right now inside of MCC, and people that are clients and friends that are mentees, but as well business partners are on this call right now with me as well. I see you guys every week, and it is a privilege and a pleasure to do that. Why? Because you know what you're doing well. You know what you're good at. You're unafraid to do it. For the context of the audience out there as well, we've got accounting, project management, debt consolidation, career management, business-related management, and decades of experience in business on this call. I think I'm impressive. The rest of these people could put me in the ground if they work together on it. Why? Because doing it alone sucks, and it's the way you can get taken out. I've done this for 400 businesses in 8 years, and the other 6 people on this panel could wipe me out in the next 6 months if they work together. That's the power of leveraging relationships. So how much better do you get by surrounding yourself with the right people, showing some care and attention, and investing in yourself just a little tiny bit, and being kind to you as well? It's a topic that's come up an awful lot in these discussions. It's something for us to bear in mind and take forward. So MCC's virtual business box lunch, November 5th of 2021 is in the bag. Danny, Scott, Lorette, Justin, as always, thank you very much for showing up and doing what you do. Paul, Matt, Zeus, Monarch, it is a privilege and a pleasure to always serve with you guys. Check us out next time, next week, Friday, November 12th at 12 o'clock. MCC's virtual business box lunch is going to be coming to you hot and fresh live on YouTube. And of course, we'll have another batch of Week That Was in Business. And today, I let them come up with the topics. Next week, as I always do, I'll sandbag them with it as they walk in the room. So you're hearing exactly what they think in the moment. I don't give them any time to prep. And that's how you know it's expertise, because they're thoughtful in the moment. They're concise by using their background experience, and they tell you what they experience, what they live through, and what they help other people with. Thank you for joining us today. We will see you next time. And as always,